adolescents. And I really wanted to help develop young scholars, undergraduate as well as graduate. And Miami really, in my mind, exemplified a place that valued that. And so I specifically chose Miami. I applied at other institutions as well in this area. But I think it was really the teaching, scholarship, and service mission that attracted me the most. I have just really valued the support that I've received in EHS as a whole, and specifically in educational psychology. I think, over my 30 years here, I have nurtured a variety of interests, not just in minority mental health, researching that area, but certainly teaching a variety of courses. And I've had, I think, a real broad and varied service agenda, for the lack of a better word. I've wanted to be heavily involved in service learning. I wanted to be involved in the development of all students, especially quote-unquote minority students. And I've had a strong interest in helping Miami move forward with its diversity agenda. And I really feel that in all of those interests, I have found pockets of support, especially within EHS. I knew that even if there was no interest outside of the division for something that I really wanted to work on, I could find that support within my department or in the dean's office. So I think as a whole, this division embraces the variety of interests that we as faculty have. And really, the division searches intentionally to find ways to support that, whether it's moral support, making sure that you're partnered with other colleagues here at the university or outside of Miami, monetary support, almost anything that we need. I think that we are able to come and express that need, and everyone really diligently searches for a way to support that. It's more than a slogan, it's more than the flavor of the day, whatever, saying you want to use. It's something, I think we view diversity as an educational resource. We see the importance of it intellectually, globally, in every way. And I think we earnestly strive to advance that. And that's tough to do here at Miami University in particular. I know when I first came in 1983, I was one of the few, specifically African American female faculty members here. And over the 30 years, I've seen those numbers grow. We have a long way to go, though, as an institution in diversifying the faculty, the student body, and looking at climate, and also looking at the curriculum to see how the curriculum represents the variety of voices that are out there in the scholarly community. But I think within EHS in particular, it's not just lip service. It's something that we all really work hard to achieve and to advance. I think what has really fueled my passion over the years is when I really felt that this division, in particular when I worked in the dean's office, and I felt that this division could really be the hub of helping the entire institution move forward on learning more about why diversity is so important. We decided to feature an institute on diversity. In fact, this division back in 90-something, I feel like a historian now, back in 90-something, sponsored the first institution-wide diversity institute. And we invited Ronald Takaki, who had written a wonderful piece, a wonderful book at that time about identity and diversity and why it was important. And this division thoroughly embraced that. We engaged in study circles and conversations, and then hosted the institution-wide Diversity Institute, and invited faculty from across the campus to sit down and really engage in discourse around why diversity is so important. And so this division has always been kind of the hub, I think, and progressive and very forward-thinking in where Miami needed to go. So that to me is a perfect example of why I think we've always been on the forefront in this agenda. I think another way that this division has walked the talk, so to speak, is we've been very intentional and really aggressive at diversifying the faculty. And from my perspective, that's really where institutions need to start. And it's not just for the students of color who come in. It's for all students. I think it sends a very strong signal when all students can see, just visually see that, you know, they walk into a classroom and here is a professor who may look very different from them. I can't count the number of times in the 80s and 90s I had students come up to me, and more so in the 80s, and say, you know, and they were pretty upfront about it, you know, 18, 19, 20-year-olds are pretty upfront, and they've said, I've really enjoyed this class, and you know, and they would always say pretty much, I hope I'm not offending you, but I have to tell you, you're the first black teacher I've ever had. And I said, ever? You know, ever. And it never dawned on me, you know, being from Detroit, being at Michigan and Michigan State, that would be the case for a student. But I think this division sends a very strong signal when, you know, if we were to take a group shot of EHS, and you would see a wide variety of faculty, literally from all over the world, literally from almost every part of the United States, with very different lived experiences, but all forming a community of scholars that engage, that challenge, that you know, work and teach and research together in a way that just makes the learning environment here in EHS such a rich one.